Okay, three, two, one. What is up, guys? And in today's video, we have my very special friend, Mr. Paul Hartlieb. Am I pronouncing it correctly now? Did I finally get it?
You absolutely are, yeah. No, Paul Hartlieb,
L-
that's the correct
let
way to pronounce it.
let
Thanks for having me on.
let's let's go, bro. Let's go. For those that don't know, I'm sure Paul is gonna just introduce himself, let you guys know what it is that he's building and the journey that he is on. So, Mr. Paul, take the floor. The floor is yours.
100%, yeah. Again, thanks for the invite. My name is Paul, and I'm a 17-year-old agency owner. I'm working on flowglance.com. We do websites, landing pages, funnels, yeah, basically all things web design. Been working on that for the past almost 3 years now. And during that time, met a bunch of awesome people. I'm learning a lot, and super honored to be on here today and just discuss a little bit about the journey and maybe things that we're facing in the day to day and problems and how we're solving them.
100%. Bro, you're 17, bro. Like, that still baffles my mind that you've been in the game for 3 years. How did you even get into, the building landing pages and funnels at 14? Like, that's so insane if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it happened probably a bit earlier at like 12 roughly, where I got into crypto for the first time. That was sort of my entry to
Mhm.
that whole make money online space. That must have been in 2021 during like the crypto gold rush, I would say. And throughout that, I just always tried to make money online. I think we've all seen the Iman Gaji videos, the um, yeah, just make money online guru videos. And I tried a bunch of different things. I tried copywriting, I tried trading, I tried launching my own NFT project. Um, I tried Facebook ads as a service. There's all these failures, I guess, in the past that I tried, I would say, from age 12 to 14. And then I decided to try web design because I saw it on YouTube and kind of just stuck with it after getting some initial results relatively quickly. And that's what I've been working on for the last few years. Yeah.
Oh, and did you do work for free in the beginning? How did you get into, like getting paid from, just you being a 14, 12-year-old, trying to build landing pages and things like that? How did you, get your first client basically?
Yeah, so I did do some work for free in the beginning. I think I've actually never told that one story before, but I did a free website for a video editor in the very early days of being into web design, and honestly, the delivery was quite shit at the time. I wasn't really good at what I was doing, but it was for free, so it was fine. So I basically reached out to this guy on Twitter. I was posting there at the time, and I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get a testimonial. Can I build a website for you for free?" And that's how I got my first um, free client, I guess. And then the paid client followed, I think, about 2 to 3 months later. Um, but I did work for free in the beginning, and I think it's super, super important to do that, to just gain that initial experience, because you're gonna just suck at first. And the first few clients that you work with, realistically, you're not gonna do the best job in the world, and that's normal. So I think working for free is a good thing to do in the beginning. What do you think about that topic? How did you do that?
For me, funny enough, I am a
Mm.
big proponent of doing things for free. When I first started, like most of the things I did were completely for free, and a lot of people always looked at me, in a very strange way, like, why am I doing this for free when I could get paid? But ultimately, I think the most value comes from, getting the lessons as well as the reps in and building that mode of, just building those reps because you're basically learning something that you've never learned before, and someone is giving you the platform to do that. So they're trusting you with their business to ultimately, like create value for them. And I think, in the beginning, that was super valuable because it also gives you the breathing room to make mistakes. Like, you don't have a 100K client or budget where every single thing needs to be perfect, and you're basically doing it for free. So you can mess up and ultimately learn from that. And I think that is so unmatched. But do you think Do you think that it's still the same like that now with this make money online trend where everyone, is just making so much money at a young age? Do you think there's still some, value in that?
I think first of all, it only seems like everyone is making so much money. I mean, personally, I
Hmm.
know a lot of people, even that I've just met in person, and when it comes to paying the bill, then suddenly you have to split it between 30 people because nobody can actually like pay. So I think a deeper issue is that a lot of people look very rich online and they are not actually. But I guess that's kind of besides the point. I think what you're trying to refer to is like, is it still worth it to do free work in 2025, right? I
Yeah,
think
100%.
absolutely. I mean, even for now, these days, for getting some of the clients, I still sometimes do a free demo for them. And I think it just providing value up front, if you have someone that you want to work with, is always a great idea. If you're still in the beginning stages. And I still consider myself in the beginning stages, even though I'm like, I don't know, 2 years and 9 months into this. Um, and I think if you actually provide free value to someone up front, then it's you're always going to get it back. I've had it so many times where I send someone a free demo, and then that develops into one of my highest paying clients that I've ever worked with. And I think now more than ever, you can kind of stand out from the crowd and from the noise by providing something for free up front, in the agency space, especially because everybody just wants to make a quick dollar basically. And if they see you're actually in it for a long run and you want to provide value, I think that's going to get rewarded. Yeah,
Interesting. Interesting that you mentioned that in the beginning, in the sense that like a lot of people seem rich, and then when it comes to paying the bill, they're not. Has that
absolutely.
happened a lot? Has that happened a lot to you? Because I know for me, like that has happened countless times, and I'll share a bit more of that later on. But I just want to hear your experience first.
Not 100%. I mean, it's just, it's really easy to look rich online. I think we kind of forget that. If you can spend like 3K a month, you can look pretty rich online by just going to a fancy place and ordering a coffee. And I think that is kind of like messed up the minds of a lot of people, where you think like it is normal to that everybody's making like 50K a month here and there. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that do that, but I think there's still a lot of like fake it till you make it out there. And the amount of people that like actually have it is like usually quite low. And personally, the richest people I've met that have like actual cash in the bank, actual big businesses, their social media looks like they're completely broke. So I think it's always like that difference. But I'd love to hear about your experience with like having that happen to you, where people just look extremely rich and then they end up not being able to pay the bill. So yeah, tell me.
Bro, like we built out an entire platform. And yeah, bro, like we built it out, and they were like, "Hey, like we're gonna pay you." And this person is very, I don't know if you say well known or to that effect. And when it came time to paying, then it was like, "Oh yeah, things are kind of slow at the moment." And I'm like, "Bro, like you wanna flex all these things, but ultimately, when it comes time to pay, you just don't." You know what I mean? And I guess like in business, I guess sometimes, especially because we're pretty young. I mean, you're 17 and I'm 22, bro. Like, I'm sure, like, we've been screwed over so many times. I don't know about you, but I'm sure for me, and I want to know, like, a lot more, in terms of you. Has that happened to you before or not?
Absolutely. I mean, and on the most side, to be fair, I've been pretty lucky with my clients. I haven't had anyone try and like dispute a payment before or something like that. But what has happened to me is I worked on a project that must have been towards the end of 2023. And I was working on it for, can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we're back.
100%.
So towards the end of 2023, I was working on this one project and I literally
Mm-hmm.
dedicated my life to it for about 4 months. It was
Mm-hmm.
just um, absolute shit project. It was really hard to get through. And then what ended up happening is the client just decided not to pay the second 50% of the project and ghosted me
Jeez.
and just like removed me everywhere, used the actual design and just basically scammed me. Um, and it wasn't a huge amount of money, but back in the day, it was for me. I think it was about $1,100 that I got scammed for. And then also, what you talked about there, like so many times, have hopped on a call with someone, and then they say their budget is 5K, but when it comes to actually like trying to get them onto a contract, we don't do contracts, like stuff like that. So I think you got to be very, very careful of not working with the wrong people and working with actual businesses that have a team and that have employees, and not just working with these online entrepreneurs that just fake it instead of actually having it.
That was so funny. I thought you'd have a different take on it though. I mean,
Really?
like yeah, I thought you'd have a completely different take. Yeah, I thought you'd say that, most of, your clientele comes from people in the online space rather than real businesses. Do you think there's a contrast in that, like from your experience in terms of like the real world businesses and like the online space?
To be fair, I work with a lot of um, businesses in the online space. I just like to work with businesses that have like a bit of a like longer track record. There's a big difference between,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, having company A, um, it's just a one-man show of like an agency doing 15K a month. And on the other hand, you have like a traditional agency with 20 employees doing 200K a month. Like that's a super big difference in terms of their process, in terms of how professional they are, and in terms of how they can pay you. So I'd personally rather work with like more established clients because I think you can provide more value and you can just be sure that they can pay the invoice at the end of the day. But that wasn't always like that. I mean, I started out with working with a lot of like more freelancers and coaches, consultants, video editors. But right now, I think the move going forward is to move more into working with bigger companies because obviously, if someone makes 2-3 million a year and they're looking to scale to 10, they can invest into services and into their online presence, and that's something I've really noticed recently. Yeah.
100%. And where does your deal flow come from, if I may ask? Do you do a lot of outreach or does it solely just come from referrals? Because I heard a lot of people do, come from referrals, and even from me, like most of my client base comes from referrals simply because it's just such a trust-based business, trust-based industry. I don't know if it's the same exactly for you, or do you run any outbound channels in terms of getting clients and deal flows and things like that?
Yeah. If I had to break down my channels, I'd say it's about 60 to 70% referrals probably. And then the other
Mm-hmm.
30 to 30% is coming from outreach. And I've tried a bunch. I've tried LinkedIn, I've tried Twitter, and I've tried like mass cold email. But what has actually proven to work the best for me is like really personalized Loom videos over cold email, and that's where I'm getting my clients from that I get via outreach. And essentially, what I'm building up there is it's a bit of a flywheel because if I bring in a client over cold email, they're over their lifetime of working with me together, they're going to bring me more clients through referrals. So, for example, what I just had happen is a client that I signed in, I believe, January of this year, has just given me a referral um, like 2 months ago now. And essentially, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get clients in through outreach, through cold email, through X, wherever I can get them. But then that builds up that roster of clients. And I think sooner or later, I can get to a point where every month I get 3 to 4 to 5 clients just from referrals. And I think that's the ideal place to be at as an agency. Um, but I would love to hear your take on it. You're saying you're getting a lot from referrals. Is it like 100%, or do you also get any from DMs from LinkedIn? I don't know where you could get them from.
100%. I would say 80%, just a
Yeah.
conservative number. I think 80% of my deal flow or our deal flow has solely just come from, referrals. Just bringing and being in conversations. I know that into the future, we're probably going to have to test out a lot of more, outbounds. And for a specific stage in time, when I was doing these daily videos early on, we were running a lot of, outbound until I realized that maybe outbound was probably not the best mode in terms of what we're building, simply because the referrals was working for us, and it still is working for us today. But that's why we're basically pivoting, or I'm pivoting, to mainly focus on the brand, because the brand is ultimately going to be what's going to drive people in long term. So that's why, like, mainly the idea with these daily videos is to ultimately build that brand, and then everything just kind of flows as a flywheel to that. So we're running, we're basically using, we're using these daily videos as well, and then we're ultimately using X as well, just to ultimately connect, and also just using that as a flywheel. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think
100%.
one thing that I've seen a lot of people in the agency space do is they kind of
Mm-hmm.
like forget about where they actually get most of their deals from. And I've done that mistake many times where I try and always like find a new method to get clients instead of actually just
Mm-hmm.
doubling down on what works. And I think especially like at our current stage that most of us are at, we just have to double down on what's already bringing us results. And I was at a mastermind like 1.5 weeks ago, and one key thing that they talked about there is about 85% of your time should be allocated on doubling down on what works, doing more of what works. And then I believe it was 10% of your time should be allocated towards like iterating that thing that already works. And then 5% of your time should be focused on new things. So 85% double down, 10% basically improving on what works, and 5% doing new stuff. And I think most people in the agency space have it like completely wrong. They basically do it the other way around, where they try new things every day instead of just like doubling down. And that just basically um, eradicates any like compound effect. And you're not able to actually grow because you switch your tactics and your systems every day. And I think that's something that I've learned over the last few months. And I'm like currently just locked in, trying to double down on what works and not getting distracted by new strategies. Yeah.
Course. But isn't that just like part of the learning early phase, where you're just trying out so many things and you like don't know what actively works? Because sometimes, I'm also, I also am subject to this, where I also fall into this of, expecting results like right now. And now even with these videos, like I've kind of learned to expand my time horizon a lot more. Like some days, bro, like to be honest, we get like views, but that doesn't stop, for me from, just hitting record and just posting. I think that is the most important thing.
Mm.
And I think with what you're saying, I agree. Like, how are you gonna know what works if you're just trying out so many things? Because let's say you try out something and it works, and it could work long term, but then you switch so quickly that you never get to see the compounding, leverage that you were talking about in the long run. And do you think that's something that happens a lot common, like that's really common in the online space in terms of, us young entrepreneurs, if you will?
Yeah, I think we definitely, it happens so often. I mean, even with myself, I see it a lot. Like shiny object syndrome. I think it's a really, really big problem of our generation. And that kind of goes back into that whole like comparing yourself to the lifestyle that you see others live online, and you see, oh wait, that guy is my age and he just made 60 million from like this thing. Oh, or maybe 6 million, whatever it is. Um, Maybe I should start a software company. And then you see this other guy has made 1 million a month from a mobile app. Maybe I should get into mobile apps. And then it's like all of that distraction. And I think it's similar for if we stay within the agency space, it's similar for trying to get clients, where you see that YouTube video of like a different system and you want to try it. when really you just haven't really given your current systems the time yet to actually gather feedback and see if they work. Because what I've found is it usually takes like multiple months on end to really see if something works. And um, oftentimes, if you cut it before that, it doesn't really make sense, and you kind of just wasted that energy.
100%, 100%. And for you, like with the current client base that you're working with and the people that you'd want to be working with in the future, do you have a specific ICP, like a ICP that you use in terms of the kind of profile that you're going for? It may not be industry specific, but just a ideal customer profile that you're, looking to work with.
Yeah, it's mm, good question. To be honest, I'm still figuring it out a lot at the moment. It's not like completely honed in yet. I can tell you who I
Mhm.
not want to work with. That's something I've kind of been defining recently, and I think sometimes it's almost easier to just list out like the anti-client. And for me, the anti-client would be um, someone that is basically doing below 15K a month. I would say like not even worth it at all to work with them as a business or as a company. And then also people that don't have a team mostly. From my experience, it's just a pain in the ass to work with them, and I'd rather work with bigger teams. And going into like who I actually want to work with, I'd say agencies, um, basically service providers and software companies. That's where I'm kind of like the most passionate, I would say, and where I can actually do a good job. And ecom, for example, again, is something, it's temptation, but again, shiny object. I haven't dabbled into it, so I'd rather like stay locked in on that agency websites, SaaS websites, and maybe more general service provider websites. But that's the niche that we've been in, and I think that's where I can expand to 100K per month and beyond without having to change anything significantly. Yeah.
Course, 100%. And with landing pages, why, I've been having this question a lot more. I mean, from, me building landing pages, I don't know if you know this, but I first started building landing pages.
Yeah.
Often the times I do kind of do it for fun and ultimately, just to, keep that skill because with what we're building, we kind of, also use the same disciplines from, building landing pages also to building the entire systems that we're building and just keeping those skills in hand as well. But what I was mainly about to go to was what do you think about people that want to use templates rather than going through the full custom route? Because this is something that I've also been thinking about. I know, like, for me, it's a no-brainer, but, I'm curious to hear your perspective on it. People that prefer to rather use custom landing pages I mean template page landing pages over the full custom ones that you actively build. What is the value from me, for example, buying from you a custom landing page versus a template, and why would I spend $10,000 with you rather than buying a $1,500 template made?
Yeah, I think honestly, the clients literally do not care at all if it's a template or not. That's just my experience.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
um, for a lot of my projects, I can be quite honest, we do use like a basic template as the foundation, and then we basically use that backend, and it just saves a lot of time and therefore also money in the long run. But the thing is, what I've really noticed is like if you kind of get out of our bubble, most like companies actually do not care at all if you use a template or not. They only care about, is this website going to make us more money? Is this going to bring us more like booked calls, form submissions? And as long as it does that and it matches their brand and their design standards, it doesn't really matter. So I think it's kind of the wrong question. And only in this like design space does it actually matter. Um, I rarely do like fully custom stuff, and I like to use things such as like libraries. And for example, there's like a really good one. It's called Relium Library. I'm not sure if you've heard of it before. Or also Untitled UI for Figma. And I think you'd also be kind of stupid not to use that. if you want to just deliver value for clients. And listen, I'm not the biggest designer, so I can't say that from a design standpoint. I wouldn't really consider myself a great designer, to be honest. I'm more like a builder, and in that sense, I think using stuff to save you time can totally be a good move. Yeah, what do you think? I'm super curious if you're gonna like completely conflict that.
What you're saying?
Yeah, what do you think?
I mean, right now I'm kind of at, like that point in time where I think speed is key and selling the result matters a lot more. It's just super client specific. Some people may want, certain features that, you can't get, from a template, then you have to go the full custom route. But ultimately, if you're optimizing for speed and also optimizing for the results as well, I guess it's just a question of what are you optimizing for? What is the client also optimizing for? And I think with that, you're then able to, decide on the tech stack that you're going to be going with that ultimately, caters to those requirements as well. And that's also how you kind of scale, because if you're building custom each and every single time, that ultimately does not scale unless, you also ultimately have this, template that you build in-house, and then you ultimately just churn, oh, not churn, but like you basically just use that as a foundation to build other projects
Yeah, yeah.
as well.
I, I would argue though that custom can scale as long as it's really high ticket. For example, a mentor of mine,
Hmm.
they do very high ticket like software and websites as well actually, and it is pretty custom. It's
Hmm.
like at a certain stage when you get paid like multi seven figures a year for a contract, you're obviously like
Hmm.
gonna have to do something custom, but I think you can still scale with it. It's just a completely different game. You cannot scale selling 5K custom platforms. Like that's just not gonna work because you spend so much time on one project and it's like quite a small amount in comparison to the time that you have to put in. So I think it's always about like everybody kind of has a price, I think, to do something custom, and you just have to figure out what that is for you.
100%,
That is kind of
100%.
my take on the whole thing. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And how key, I know you just mentioned now that you have a mentor. How key is that in your journey? Like, I know you're 17, but how key has having that mentor in your life been?
Man, it has been absolutely transformational. I mean, um, I met him about, I got introduced to him like maybe 7 or 8 months ago. And
Mhm.
since then, I have, in terms of revenue, probably like done a 5x. And I don't really speak publicly about my numbers yet, but it's definitely been growth, I would say. And he's played
10
a
mil.
super crucial part in that. Obviously, yeah, we're at 10 mil already. No,
10. He's at 10 mil, guys. The cat's out of the bag. I'm sorry, bro. I exposed you. You're 10 mil a
yeah,
month.
man. I mean, I'm a trillionaire at this point, so uh,
Tri-
not getting out of
17
that.
year
No,
old, bro. We're retitling this video to 17-year-old trillionaire.
that might be a good title for YouTube. All jokes aside, though, get a mentor. I think it
Hmm.
is so
Hmm.
key. I mean, it's literally transformed my life just by seeing a different perspective from someone that's like about 10 years older than me and has done the same. So I think find someone that is like somewhat in your industry and has a proven track record there. And I would actually say like try and find someone who has experience rather than someone who has like a big following on social media and who sells a course. And a lot of these like actual business owners, they may have like 800 followers on Instagram, but they're the ones that can actually be your mentor and give you value. And that's how I've been doing it. And I think over time you get exposed to these people and you're gonna get introduced and you can also reach out to people, ask them for mentorship, obviously. But for me, the times where it's happened naturally over time, I would say. Yeah.
100%. Bro, I agree with you on that one. I think I'm also, more leaning towards like the real world businesses, and the people
Mhm.
that, I've seen that are like doing very, very well are the people without lots of followers. Like the people that you would not even think of, having, the credibility and also the standing that they have. They're the ones that actively, move markets, but they ultimately don't have a large following on social media. And it's like, who do you listen to? Like, who do you follow the people that are big on social media and have this massive following, but do they really move the needle or move industries in the same manner than some of these people that just literally just post videos of or pictures of their I don't know, like plants and stuff. I don't know what they post, but like you get
No,
what I mean
exactly.
though,
Yeah, you
right?
hit it right on the nail. I think you hit the nail on the head. Is that something you say? I think so. Um, you would
Yeah.
never be able to tell sometimes with these like social medias of really successful business people. And again, yeah, you just have to focus on finding people that actually are doing things and not just trying to look cool for the camera. But that's difficult in today's world. Yeah.
100%. And just asking, I don't think I asked you
Mm.
this. We had what's his name? Sorry if I'm forgetting. We had Liam on a couple shows ago, like some time ago, and he was 16 and he told me that he
Yes.
dropped out of school. So my question, you know Liam, right?
I've seen some of his stuff. He's making like what 50K a month online or something at 16.
Yeah, bro's crushing it, bro.
I
Bro's
saw that. Yeah.
crushing it. So
Shout out
shout
to
out to
Liam.
Liam, Shannon. Yeah. So with you, bro, like, are you still in school? And if so, how are you balancing it?
I am not. I actually dropped out in December, so I just
What?
couldn't take it
For
anymore.
real?
I did. Yeah, I dropped out of high school. I can officially say I'm like a high school dropout. Yeah.
And how did that happen? Because I know he told me a story that he dropped out pretty recently, as well. Now you're telling me that you've dropped out. Why? Like why drop out at 16, 17?
Yeah, at the time I was 16, and essentially what happened is I transitioned into an economics school, and
Mm-hmm.
um, while I was there, I basically crushed it. It was a super easy thing for me, and I went from being at a more difficult school and having really bad grades to all of a sudden like not doing any work there, but having super good grades. I was among the top people in the class, despite not really showing up to class at all. And then about
Mm-hmm.
4 to 5 months in, I was just like, this is so pointless. I'm not really learning anything significant, and it's really pulling me down. Because honestly, like, no offense, but the environment there was extremely bad. Most people there had no perspective, and it was just some environments that massively like put you down. And I spoke to my parents about it. I spoke to my teachers about it. And sometimes I think, have you heard of the concept of like one-way decisions versus two-way decisions, or like one-door decisions
Yeah,
versus like two-door decisions? I think Jeff Bezos talked about
100%.
it before or something.
Yeah, Jeff
And
Bezos in the Lex Friedman podcast, right?
yes, exactly. And what would
That's
you
it.
say like
Mhm.
dropping out of high school? What kind of decision is that, in your opinion? I'm curious.
You curious? I mean, context wise, I mean, you're like in Europe, so it's a bit easier. I would say it's easier for you to say it's a two-door decision. I know, like, if I say one door, people are gonna come after me, but I mean, yeah, but people are gonna come after me. So I would have to say the way that I would look at it is that if you can go back to university, like you can like stop not go to university and then go back like 10 years later, then it is a two-door decision because you can go and then you can come back. Same, I think, with school. I think school's a two-door decision. Like you can always go, but you can always come back. No matter the age, you see people in their 50s redoing, grade five or whatever the case may be. And if they
Absolutely,
can
yeah.
do that, bro, like if they can do that, then you can too. And then, which also makes me, ask this question, because I also have this question I speak to my friends about a lot,
Mm.
which is, what is most important? Like, if your main role is to wake up each and every single day and go to school as a kid, and then from going to school, you get, the main role of going to school is to make money, right? You get a job, you make money, cool. What if you're 16, you're in school and you made all this money? Then what becomes the point of going to school? And that's why I look at it more so from a perspective of, what am I gaining to learn over just going to school to get a job? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, I fully get that. I think um, obviously like the education there can sometimes still be very good, and I think we have to be
Mhm.
super grateful for it. Otherwise, like we wouldn't be here speaking, uh, like speaking on this call if we didn't have that education. On the other hand, first of all, I'm a big believer in self-education, and then also I think that point of making money is like just a very, very good point. At the time, I wasn't like doing crazy numbers. I believe I was doing about 3K a month in December, but it was just like at the point where I could theoretically pay for my stuff myself. If I had to move out, I still live with my parents at the moment, but if I had to move out, I would probably be able to sustain my life. And that was kind of the point where, imagine if you're like part-timing something and you can actually live off of it. How far could you go? How big could you dream if you went full time? And that's where I had to take the bet. And I think that's such a good question, like about that. School is teaching you to make money if you already make money and can already sustain yourself. There's sometimes it's really like the point where it just doesn't make sense anymore. And I wouldn't say like maybe that's for everyone. And I'm also very lucky with my situation, my parents allowing it, my teachers being supportive. But I think it played out well. And now, about 9 months later, I don't regret a thing. It's mainly improved just my overall like life quality. And I'm no longer like depressed sitting in school. It was so bad
That's
actually,
so
like
funny.
that time, man. Yeah, what
And
was school
and
like
do
for you? Did you have the same
for
issues? Like just it was so bad with like trying to get work done, or what was it like for you?
Bro, funny enough, I didn't find, well, it was a bit of both. Like, in terms of the school, the most enjoyable subject for me was business. It was actually my highest one in when I left high school, and it was super super interesting, because I didn't know I was good at business, or at least business theory at least, until I finished high school, and I was like, okay, so cool, like I'm good at business theory. Now let's stack some more skills, which is computer science. So now that's what I'm doing to ultimately, just better that skill set, and then ultimately, just stack those skills as well. But to get back to your point, like for me, school was a bit of a mixture of both. It was good and it was also bad at the same time, because of
I
like the
agree. Yeah.
troubles that I was going through as well. I actually missed a year of the I mean, sorry, not a year, a month of the final year, simply because I was in the hospital, but I still
I
passed,
seen that.
and
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
was
It was a
possible, yeah,
it was due to like just the health a health problem, right? That you had to miss
100,
that, and I think that's a again a completely different situation, right? But you were
100%.
still able to pass the class.
100%. The year, actually, I was still able to pass the year. I believe I got three distinctions, if I'm not mistaken, which was like super, super wild to me to even think that, even skipping a month, you can even do so. I would say well, I guess, but ultimately, but yeah, I think, for me, school was a mixture of both good
Yeah.
and bit of bad. But ultimately, I think it also paved the way for me. I mean, you've had a very different life experience to get to this point, but now I'm just asking, like, how did you bring up that conversation with your parents to let them know that you were dropping out and that you were gonna pursue this all in or nothing?
So basically, I had probably told them I switched schools during last after the school year of 2024. So I started at a new school in September, and that was kind of the last try, I guess, that we made because I was like, I had been telling my parents throughout the whole of 2024, I hate school, I want to get out of here, I want to drop out, and I had kind of already put up that topic, and what ended up happening is I kind of did a move that was probably very much shit and not very nice. But I told all my teachers, and I already did the moves. I got the paperwork, and I basically publicly like announced that I was gonna drop out. And then I brought the papers home, and then I just said, like without even questioning it, that I'm gonna do this now, and I don't care like what happens. We're doing this. It was like a day before the holiday break as well, so it was like already kind of set in stone with the teachers. So I basically set it up in a way where there was like no going back. And looking back at it, that was obviously a bit of a shit move. But I think sometimes it's okay to be selfish if you're like having a goal in mind long term. That's not only gonna benefit you, but that's how it went for me. And again, might not be possible with someone else's situation, with someone else's parents. Um, but it was possible for me at the time, and I think now even my parents are happy about it. Yeah.
And now going back to what you mentioned about the
Yeah.
two-door and one-door decisions, what is a one-door decision in your description or your view? What is a one-door decision and what is a two-door decision?
I think it's something that you cannot uh like go back on. Like a one-door decision by definition is you go out of a door and it locks after you walk out. And that is just not the case with dropping out of high school, contrary to like the belief that a lot of people have. Because actually, my teachers told me, hey, you can come back anytime. Like next year, you can come back. In 5 years, you can come back. It's completely cool. Just again, call us up and we'll get you enlisted again. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And a one-door decision, in my opinion, would be like just doing an extreme fuck up or something like ending a business partnership, um, stuff like that. There's like just some things in life I think you can't uh, go back on. Like if you just do something and you've set your mind to it, you cannot change that direction. But I think dropping out is definitely not one of them. I mean, it's just wrong. It is not.
Interesting. And I know you mentioned just now that you mentioned ending a business partnership. Can I talk about it
Sure, yeah,
or
let's do it.
not? Cool, 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 cool. So you let me know that you recently, not recently, but like let's just say recently, ended a business partnership. How was that experience and how hard was that one door decision to make?
Yeah, man, it was really tough. I mean, if anyone's watching this right now and you're trying to get into a business partnership, please like think twice and please spend like as much time as possible evaluating that because what ended up happening is me and a good friend of mine basically decided to merge agencies, and he joined my agency as a co-founder. And just looking through the long-term vision that I had for myself, looking through where I wanted to go with this, I kind of realized about 3 months in that it's not going to work with having a 50-50 split. And it's just too complicated for me. Also, since I'm under 18, would be like some legal troubles involved with that as well. And the mistake I made is not doing more research into it um, before going into the partnership, and that like could have easily been avoided. And the pain that you can cause for someone if you like end a partnership after they've like given their all, dropped all of their other opportunities is obviously crazy. Um, so that was a really tough time, and I would say my partner was obviously rightfully so kind of pissed off for a bit, but he took it really well, and we're speaking again like it's all good. We're working on a project together actually still, and kudos to him. I mean, I wouldn't have taken it so well, but ending a business partnership is honestly like one of the probably the toughest convo that I've had. Just like sitting down there, you're business partner doesn't know what you're about to bring up, and it was just brutal. But yeah, it
I
was
can
brutal.
imagine. I can imagine because for me, very early on, so I don't know many people if they know this, but I first started out doing ads. So one of the main things that I did was I was doing ads, and then I got this guy to be my co-founder, if you will. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was probably not the best, not the best experience, but I believe, looking back on my specific journey and even hearing from yours, I'm sure you can agree with me on this, which is that some experiences you just have to go through them. And no matter what anyone else can tell you in terms of, this is going to happen or this is not going to happen and all these different things, I think. The best, lessons that you can learn are ultimately the ones that you experience, and through experiencing them you then are able to fully immerse yourself in terms of oh, so this is what this person was saying, and now I can know how to move into the future. Because in as much as I can tell you, like, hey, like, Paul, having a business partnership, when you don't spend 3 months together in the incubation phase is a bad thing, and then you won't probably take it as I would, because through experience. Like, it's just one of those things that you have to learn through experience. And I'm sure you can agree to disagree on that one as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it is just you spoke the truth here. I mean, it is exactly like that, and I think sometimes you just don't want to hear even advice from people ahead of you or people that you usually go to get advice from, and you sometimes when you put on like the blinders, you ignore all the red flags because you paint up like this perfect picture in your mind of this partnership. It's all gonna go so well, and for me, what I realized is over the last 3 years, I've had 3 failed business partnerships. I've tried it every single year. I've tried it with another person, and it failed every single time after a few months. And for me, where I ended up arriving at as a conclusion is that I was trying to avoid like hiring someone because I was scared to have that overhead on me. And instead, I tried to get someone in on a revenue share that could have otherwise just been a team member, and that would have been a more rational decision to just hire someone. But sometimes it can be more comfortable to take the route of like 50% of the company is yours, and you get 50% of the revenue or of the profit, whatever. It can be more comfortable to do that than to actually hire someone, but it's the easy way out, and the easy way out is rarely the best scenario. So over the last few months after ending that, I had to really like look myself in the mirror and realize that I'm gonna have to hire if I want to scale, and that's sort of what I've done. And but again, as you said, you kind of have to learn these things by making the mistake and failing forward. And I think everybody that's a founder can kind of relate to that, where you just fuck something up and then you learn from it, and that's where the biggest like growth comes from.
Course, of course. I have a strong feeling that your
Mm.
next move is definitely going to be software. Like 1,000%. I can bet 1,000% that your next move, after you're done with the landing page stuff, is ultimately going to be software. Am I wrong? All right.
I think I think you might be right, but I do hope that it's gonna take a bit for me to get there. I mean, I think with
Mm-hmm.
websites, I can definitely get to a 1 million a year run rate in terms of revenue, and that's my goal right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think before that, I better not switch. It would probably be shiny object. Um, but later down the line, 100%, I think to grow an agency to like actual huge figures, you have to basically be doing software if you're in the web space. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Would you
Interesting.
say that or
Sorry.
would you recommend, or would you guess that I get into it sooner, or what was your thought behind it?
My thought. behind it. This is my 2 cents on it, bro. Like you don't have to take this, but I would have thought that, for me, like the way that I like to view things is that I have a minimum threshold to say that I'm gonna stay in this industry until I hit this goal. And then once I hit this goal, that is ultimately like, let's say, for example, the first phase is ultimately capital accumulation, where you're basically getting as much capital, and through you getting that much capital, you're then able to strategically deploy it. So that's phase one, and then phase two is strategically deploying it, and then phase three is ultimately strategic partnerships and the next level as well. So I think there are certain ways in terms of pulling different levers that I'm thinking about today, in terms of sometimes you need to make cash flow plays, sometimes you need to just make long-term vision plays. And like, for example, with these videos, with these daily videos, it's not a question of, oh, am I going to monetize these today or tomorrow? Like, that's not even my focus. My focus is ultimately building the long-term brand vision through these daily videos. And that is running parallel to everything else. So
Two
yeah,
to three
I
years
don't
down
know.
the line, right? You're gonna get the fruits of your labor here today, and for all these past 100 days, it's not gonna show up tomorrow, but it's gonna take some time. But when it hits, it will hit hard. Have you seen? Sorry to chime in, but have you seen the Alex
Mhm.
Hormozy play that he made after building his brand for so long recently?
No,
I think
no,
that's a
no,
good
no.
example of that.
What did he
Did you
do?
actually not see that?
No, no, no. What did he do?
He did a book launch, and they sold a product at the end of it for 6K, and I think they had an 18K and a 20K upsell. And they cleared
Mhm.
over 100 million from one launch.
Oh, oh,
Did
you
you see
mean
that?
the book launch? Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yes.
That was insane, bro.
And
That was
how did he do
insane.
that? Like exactly what you just talked about, right? He built up the brand,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you're laying the foundation there. And I think that's such a good point. Uh, Long term versus short term.
100%. And do you think it's insane that we're gonna do 365 in a row, nonstop?
It is insane. I think I couldn't do that. Uh, but absolutely crazy that you've been at it for so long. I feel like you're also in too deep to quit, right? Like you've done it so long, you cannot quit now. Yeah.
100. This is day 101, bro. So I feel like I'm still just scratching the surface of what's possible, bro. And now we're in phase two, so like that's also something as well. So yeah.
Imagine where you're gonna be on day 365. It's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be so, bro. Like, who has done 365 days chatting to like awesome guys and also just building things at the same time? I don't know. Like, maybe there's someone that has done it, but if not, bro, like I wanna be the first person to do it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I haven't heard of anyone. I think it's really rare, and you're definitely like pushing through there. And it's only a matter of time until one of these like really hits big, and then it's gonna start to take off. Yeah, and the
100%.
consistency will be rewarded, and you're building the brand here. And yeah, I've also been. I think YouTube is a great game to play, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like some of the biggest results that I've personally ever seen as well from content is just making
Mm-hmm.
YouTube videos because yeah, what's your take on that? Have you seen any benefits from it so far, even though you're playing more of a long-term game?
100%. Like I've been able to like through the daily videos been able to network with some heavy hitters that I wouldn't have been possible or been able to network with if I didn't start the daily videos. And 1000% it's not more so like what am I going to get out of it today or tomorrow. Like that's never the mission in terms of like building these out, and also just the relationships that I've been able to form. It's more so like what value can I provide to them so that we just have this partnership and also just understanding as well, because I see a lot more value within that rather than saying what am I going to get in terms of monetary value today, because you may get monetary value today, but tomorrow what else are you going to get? That's where most of the time the deal just ends, you know what I mean? So Yeah, so yes, to answer your question, yes, I have been getting a lot of, connections with a lot of, heavy hitters, if you will.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's been super valuable so far. So that's why I was like, no one ever remembers the guy that did 100 daily videos and stopped, but they remember the guy that did 365. So
And
that's
then
why.
after that, continue to make content, right? But maybe in a different format. So, but yeah, I can't wait to see where you'll be at day 365, as I said. And I think even like just posting, maybe not even that regularly, but just posting once a week can already have like a huge impact. Um, I post very occasionally on YouTube. I do vlogs every now and then, and even that has given me like a good amount of benefits, um, such as like being able to record with the camera, like more easily while I'm outside and being more confident, and then also just like um, people actually like recognizing you from the videos. I was at a business event in Barcelona last year with Daniel Dallin, and someone just walked up to me and was like, "Hey, I think I saw your vlog," and that was like crazy to me. So there's like, I
Mhm.
think we forget. You said like earlier that sometimes the videos get 6 views. But imagine if like 6 people were viewing this conversation right now. Like, how crazy would that be? I mean,
Six, yeah.
just imagine that, like 6 people in a room. That's some that's few people.
Bro, 6 people in a room, even 10 watching your videos, bro, that's insane for me. Like that's the way I think about it. I think the mission matters a lot more than anything else. And for you, like what is your overall mission slash goal with the agency and also with you as well? Like what is the main vision?
Yeah, I think with the agency, first of all, the agency obviously plays into my bigger like plan for my life, I guess. And the plan with the agency is to get to a point where I have really good cash flow. Um,
Mhm.
and basically, I want to bring it. And I think it's a typical agency answer. I'm sorry to say that again, but I want to bring it to low 7 figures a year, which is obviously very difficult to do still. And then from there, long term, my goal is to work on a more meaningful company because as much as I can say like agency, I'm super passionate about building websites. Like let's fuck all of that. Like honestly, nobody's like actually super passionate about that. It's not really like solving the biggest problem. So I think long term, my goal would be after having that cash flow from agency to build an actual product where you are like really like working on one big thing, if that makes sense. I think that could give me a lot of purpose in life. And then personally, there's obviously also a few goals, but that might be a bit too long to cover. But I think business wise, that's sort of the plan. But I feel like that changes a lot as well. I'm still pretty young, so I have some time to figure that out.
Course, bro, like you're literally 17, bro. I remember when I was your age, bro, like I was literally doing YouTube videos bro. Like, I was doing YouTube videos that I think are still on my channel. I think they're on my channel, but bro, like
I
you're
saw that actually.
crushing
I
it,
checked
bro.
it out earlier.
Really?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I
Bro,
looked at like oldest
the
videos on the channel.
oh my days. Well, which one did you see? Which one did you see?
Wait, I think
No, 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 don't
I
search
cannot
it
pull it up.
now.
Okay. No, no, I it
Okay,
was
cool.
like I think it was a tech review and it was
Oh,
also
oh, okay, okay.
so like some tech review and then also I don't remember to be honest. I have the memory
I,
of a fish sometimes, but it was just
as
older content, but cool to
of
see in my opinion. It's nice to document
course.
that.
Course, bro. Like if you can like also like how I'm thinking about these videos as well, that if I can document each and every single day, like the transformations, the small transformations on a day-to-day basis, in a year you can like look back and see how you've, progressed, through the good times and the bad times because there'll be so many bad times and there'll be so many good times as well. Some days where you feel like you just want to, stop and just, quit, but you just have to power through. And that's what it is all about. Just imagine, for example, like you had, the Jeff Bezos, you could see each and every single day of his building journey. Like you could see what he was doing on a day-to-day basis. I mean, like, not to say
That
we're
would
gonna
change
get to that
lives.
level, bro. Like that would inspire millions. And it's one of the things that, I say on my videos, which is the goal is also to inspire millions of people. I think that's the most important thing, because in
Hmm.
as much as you can have so much money, you can have so much impact. I think the most important thing is just to, be able to provide value and be of use to the world. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, and I think as entrepreneurs, that's kind of where you can shine. And if you're not of use to the world, you usually don't get paid in
Of
as an
course.
entrepreneur. And you might even say like uh, some people they may not have the best business, but they are still of use in the world if someone buys a product or a service off of them. So I think
Hmm.
we've kind of chosen the right uh, path to ultimately reach that life goal, right? And I'm super excited to
100
see what the coming years have to bring. And yeah,
100%. Bro, I'm super proud of you. Like your journey, and like from us getting connected, through Theo. Shout out to Theo as well.
shout out,
Um,
yes,
you know, it was so funny. Like I don't know why we haven't gone through that. I'm sure we can cover it as well. So, do you want to tell the
100%.
story, or should I tell the story?
Go ahead and tell it. Come on.
Cool, 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 cool. This story is so interesting. So I was on the Twitter space, and then you can also tell from your perspective as well.
Mhm.
So I was on the Twitter space with Theo, one of the guys that we both have a mutual connection with, and I joined his live on Twitter, right? So it was a Twitter, right?
Yes, it was. Yes.
So yeah, so I joined he's live on Twitter, and then you were there, and then I think we kind of spoke on the thing, and then Theo kind of alluded to the fact that he knew me, and then you followed me, and then a week later from you following me, I saw that we were on A Players together. So my question is, did you join A Players first, and you just weren't there saying anything, or did we connect through, Theo?
I think we connected through Theo, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. I have been in A players for
Mm-hmm.
quite some time. I think I joined in uh when did I join? Must have been actually a year ago, right about now.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know that you were in A players up until we had that convo, by the way. But yeah, that was definitely so funny that we got connected through that way. And um we initially I think spoke a bit on Twitter DMs, but
Of course, of
yeah.
course. How important has network been for you, like on your journey?
Network has been extremely important for me. I think it's just kind of changes your beliefs. It changes the way you think. It changes what you think is possible. Once you start getting into rooms with people that make 50K a month, like you see that they're just a normal person and they might be even less productive than you are. It kind of like breaks the belief that you have to be this perfect person to reach certain goals. I think that's what
Hmm.
network has done for me, and also it just makes life a lot better. On the other hand, I
Of
think
course.
in our current stage, it's sometimes a bit overhyped, and it's actually more important to just do the work. Um, that's something I've been realizing recently. What's your take on it? Do you think it's like overhyped, or is it get doesn't get the credit it deserves?
100%, bro. Like I believe that. Bro, like think about it like this, bro. And as much as like you can look at, Elon Musk and Jeff and, Mark Zuckerberg, like they were able to build the companies that they built because of their network as well. They had this mastermind where they could, ultimately use, different exchange different knowledges and things like that. I think, through that is one element of it, but mainly it's also within. I think if you're also able to build from within, because I think no one's going to know the answers that you need, and no one has the unique perspective that you have in terms of what you're building and what you want to build as you do. So ultimately using that and also just building through that, I think, builds a lot. Because for me, like one of the most important things is I kind of lost my voice, to be honest with you, by listening to too many things and, trying this hack and, shiny object syndrome. But I think
Yeah, yeah.
once you're able to, have strategic solitude, you're then able
Mm.
to, step away from that and recenter on why you're chasing this goal and what is aligned with who you are and what it is that you're doing on a day to day to attain that goal as well.
Strategic solitude. Yeah, I think that kind of summarizes it well of like not having to rely on other people all the time and being able to um, think for yourself. And I think sometimes you try and skip like the phase of actually building up yourself through networking, and I've noticed that a bit. And I actually, I'm not sure if this is like something I should say on a podcast, but I actually decided to not renew my A players membership, which would have been due this month, because I'm kind of
Boom,
like I've
boom,
been
boom, boom, boom.
yeah, no shots fired. It was totally worth it. I like James a lot, and it's a great product, but it's just at my stage right now, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like the only thing that's actually gonna get me to my goal is doing the work, and like one more trip to Paris isn't really gonna fix the problems in my business. That's just my uh current mood, I guess.
Thoughts?
Um, and I
Okay.
have to go into that strategic solitude to get to the next level, I believe. And sometimes you have to have these seasons. Yeah.
And bro, stealing my sauce, bro. Come on, bro. Like I cooked with that, bro. Come on.
You
You have to
absolutely
admit.
did, dude. Credit to you. I'm definitely gonna be using that going forward.
That's so
Did you
funny.
just
That's
come up
so
with that?
funny. No, 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 no. Like, there's a video where I've spoken about it, like strategic solitude, like
I have not
times we
seen
have to
that.
go away.
That's on me. I think I've, yeah, exposed here. Yeah.
Bro, like even just one video, bro, like even if you watch it 30 seconds, bro, like that's more than enough to me, bro. So no harm done, bro. No harm done. So I know I have one final
Sure.
question, and then, you know, what message would you want to leave your future self watching or replaying this back into the future? And also just some final words, for anyone watching that is young and wants to get into the online space and wants to make all this money and, what do they need to know? And also what does your future self need to know about this point in time of your life that you would want to be a reminder of? I know that's a long question, but yeah.
Okay, for my future self, I don't know, to be honest. I'm not really sure what I would tell him. I just I don't know. I hope it worked out. I hope you kind of like put into work. I hope you did. And yeah, I just hope that future self is like proud of where he kind of has come from and where he's at. But I think a question that I could probably answer a little bit better would be the question what I would tell to my younger self or in general like younger entrepreneurs. Um, so I'd go a bit more in depth on that one, I guess. Um, I think it is actually let me think about this for a second. I think it's really important to work on one thing for a longer time, and I've seen that with a lot of my friends. Like every single person that actually like locks in, and works on like a single thing for multiple years, ends up being relatively successful. So that would be my message to my younger self and in general to younger entrepreneurs. Like stick to doing something for at least 3 to 4 years, and I think that way you can actually build up expertise in a certain sector. Because as a young person, usually people are not going to take you very seriously. And that has a reason. And the reason is because you're shit and you don't have any skills and you don't know what you're doing. And in my opinion, the only way to fix that is to actually stay somewhere for a long time and build up expertise. So I'd say choose something and then stick to it long term. And that's probably the biggest thing. Like I have had so many failures and so many fuck ups over the last 3 years. But the only thing that I decided not to ever do is switch like completely what I'm doing. And I think that's probably one of the like only really good decisions that I've made, that I would really like try and tell younger entrepreneurs to try and stay on track with one thing. Um, if you see it work, like obviously if you try something for a very long time and it doesn't work, you have to iterate. But if you see something and it works, then the grass is not greener on the other side. I think that's kind of my number one message. Yeah.
The grass is green away you water it.
That is so true. Yeah, absolutely. That sums it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
So true. So any final words? Any final words, or is that it?
I think that's it. I don't know if
Cool.
there's any other lessons. I'm not at a stage yet where I can give much advice. I think I'm just sharing what has kind of worked for me, and I think uh, as long as you stick to something for a long enough time horizon, that's my own belief. You make it work. That's what I'm doing myself. That's why I can share that confidently. What would be yours if you had to share something similar? I know I'm not trying to steal your spot as the interviewer. I'm just curious.
What is the question? Phrase it in your words.
Um, what would be your number one message to like younger you, basically, or a younger entrepreneur in general who's like starting out?
Do work for free. I think that's the first one. Do
Mm,
two, three things for free. The journey is super long. You're gonna face so many tough times. People are gonna probably most likely screw you over, but don't take that as a personal attack. Just stay true to who you are and, stay true to the mission. There's a reason why you started it. Always try to anchor yourself down to that reason each and every single day through the tough times. Because I think, if you're able to anchor yourself each and every single day through your why, you'll get a lot further and you won't be, what's the word? You won't be bogged down or discouraged by,
mm,
the difficulties that you may face. But you just need to keep on going because I think that's the most important thing. If you're starting out, forget what your friends are saying, forget every single thing. I used to be the guy that, at breaks, I used to like chill in my teacher's classroom and with no one. And I think that solitude also helped me find who I am because only there's only one of you that has your unique set of perspective, the way that you view the world and the way that you see the world as well. I think that is your leverage. And if you ever ask yourself, why me out of 1,000 or 100,000 people, it's because of that. Simply because of your perspective and your experiences through life, and that is what's going to govern you building something new, and never forget why you started. And I think that's my take. So yeah.
never forget why you started. Yeah, that's a good one. And yeah, I think it's okay to be that kid who's like sitting alone in the lunch break. I mean, I think so many entrepreneurs that I've spoken to that started at a young age had uh, that feeling of not fitting in, of like being the weird guy. Um, and I've had it myself too, like trying to get work done during lunch break, trying to read during lunch break, meditate during lunch break, all of that stuff. When I was still in the trenches in school, you know. And I think it's okay to be different. That's one thing I would add. And it's okay to like be um, in that transitional period for some time where you don't really fit in. And for me, I did find like belonging now. I found a good circle of friends, and um, it kind of all figured it out over time. But yeah, I think we can wrap it there from my side. It's just so interesting how a lot of people that started our age have so similar experiences.
I agree. I agree. And where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram, paul.hartlieb, and then also on X, it's just at Hartlieb. I also have a YouTube channel, just search up my name, and you'll find some vlogs. That's basically it. Appreciate it.
Posting a
Yeah,
video,
thanks for the invite.
po- posting a video a week. We have it on record. We have it on
Almost.
record.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
We have it on record, bro. Come on.
Yeah, I have to log in. What I can log in for is posting two videos a month. That's a
Okay.
that's an improvement for me already. So that's what I'm sticking to until the end of the year at least. I'm aiming for one a week,
Mhm.
but I can't promise that, so I'll say two a month. Yeah.
Bro, if I can do 100 in 100 days, bro, you can definitely do one a week.
Yes, that is probably true. It is just I don't want to make promises I can't keep. I have an editor, so slightly makes it more difficult for myself with the vlogs. But yeah,
That's all good. That's all good.
peer
So,
pressure.
bro, that's so funny. Bro, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I know that into the future we're gonna have a part two, and it's gonna be so much fun, and I can't wait to see how far you're gonna be when we get to sit down and chat more about part two. And I hope this was super valuable to you as well as much as you know the people watching this. I think that's the most important thing to also document your journey and share how you're thinking in this point in time, and also like watching it back in a couple years and being like, dang man, like I used to think like that. That's so funny. But yeah, I appreciate you again. Thank you so much for hopping on with me for like a hour 15 minutes of just ripping it, bro. Like that's super fire. So bro, I just want to say thank you so much once again for coming on, and appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for the convo. I think I had a blast, and I hope if someone's still listening up to this point, you got some value out of it. And I think these conversations are where the value lies. So appreciate it. Thanks for the talk.
100%. 100%. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.